Sarah.
Hi, Caitlin.
Happy
Easter verse
Sunday. What?
Easter Sunday. It's not Easter anymore. It is quarantine, though.
Still? Fucking,
Yeah.
What day of quarantine is this? I think it's day 500 for me. It feels like it.
Yeah, I was thinking more like 1,487.11, but that could be
That's
close
not a real
to.
number.
You're not a real number.
I'm not a number. I feel like I have to sneeze.
You're a 10 to me.
What?
You're a 10.
I don't get it.
Like really hot. Like she's a 10.
What does that have to do with sneezing?
Well, you're a number. That's the number you get.
Oh, I had moved on from that.
Oh, God. You can't even say thank you. You can't even thank me for a compliment.
Once again, Sarah's trying to pretend that she's the nice one of the two of us, even though we both know she's not. I need a beer, obviously.
Okay.
So what's our beer today?
We're just going to get right into our beer. We do want to thank a couple new patrons. Gabrielle.
Hi, friend.
Hey, Gabrielle. We're so excited that you've joined the Luminol family. And then we also have Jenna O.
Jenna O.
How
I love you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We love you guys. So
Sorry,
thank
Sarah
you so
made
much.
that weird by singing to you.
Stop that. Thanks for joining. If you guys want to check out our really fun Patreon where we're on there posting pictures, doing fun stuff, blah, 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 go to patreon.com/luminolpod. Okay, our beer.
Okay, beer.
We are going to drink the Moral Panic Brute IPA from Ska Brewing in Durango, Colorado.
I feel moral panic every day. No, I don't.
I
Yes,
love the top. It says Mods, Rockers, Recycle, Space Force, Brutus, Recycle, Distraction, Galaxy, Rocketman, Recycle.
Wait. Turn the bottle. What does it say right where your thumb is?
It says independently handcrafted Durango Ale. Lip up, fatty.
That's the part.
There's a skeleton dancing with, it looks like a skater girl.
Ooh, that was a good sounding sound.
Ooh, you are going to like this.
Did you just taste it?
No, some of it literally landed on my lip.
Lip up, fatty.
That's why they put the disclaimer. Like squirts in your face. Stop. Stop it, Caitlin. This beer apparently will squirt on you. Stop.
Grow up.
This is a family podcast.
Fuck yeah.
We're just kidding. Please, kids, don't listen. Listener discretion is advised. Cheers.
Ooh, I like it.
I like that too.
Wait until the end. What is that?
I like the end. It's a type of hops.
It's bitter, which I love, but it gets a weird...
Galaxy hops. It's galaxy hops at the end.
It's from outer space. The other day, Twin Christy and I were talking about beer, and we were going to order from Sleepy Whale, this local place, and have beer delivered. And I was like, oh, I'll order us the same beer. But she was like, oh, when we get the beer, you can teach me how to taste the hops in it. And I was like, haha, bitch, that's Sarah. You are talking to the wrong person. I know nothing.
People have expressed interest in more hops knowledge, so that'll be coming at you.
Hop to it, Sarah.
Hop to it. I do want to say one thing about this beer. This beer is not great if you don't like IPAs. It's not an entry-level IPA. It's kind of a weird
It kind of tastes
flavor.
like fresh cut grass.
Yeah, a little bit, but it's pretty bitter and...
Like if you're, picture yourself laying out in the sun and you get the smell of fresh cut grass and then eat some of that grass, and that is this beer. Speaking of our theme today, it is...
Share. Oh, I was like, we didn't tell him. Vanishing.
That was my segue.
Vanishings. I was trying to say it like spooky. So today I'm going to go first. Don't think we have any house cleaning stuff because of quarantine, and we recorded so far ahead. And
I kind of do have the house cleaning. I wasn't I wasn't totally wrong, but in the last episode, I talked about this fucking amazing TED Talk by Andrew Solomon.
Mm-hmm.
I posted it on our Instagram story. I feel like I have to burp. He has 3 TED Talks, but the one I was specifically talking about is called Love No Matter What. And I referenced how when he starts it, he talks about like, you know, people with Down syndrome like should be put down or put away, and you know, this like terrible thing. And I was like, it was from a Time magazine article. Okay, so I was stealing part from both. So I watched it the other day to rewatch it, and he starts his talk. He does read a Time magazine article from like the 70s, which wasn't that long ago. Was it the 70s or the 80s? I think the 70s. And he does say that what I said about people with Down syndrome, but that's later in the podcast. In the beginning, he reads an article for Time magazine. It's also just as horrifying. That's like, people with homosexuality aren't real people and they should be, there's no cure and they don't deserve a cure. Like, it's horrible. So that part was from the Time magazine. He did say the same thing about people with Down syndrome, but it was from a different source. So
okay.
I was right, but wrong. But it's amazing TED Talk. I fucking love Andrew Solomon. He's the greatest.
Yeah. That was a good little cleanup.
Okay, thanks.
Woo.
I'm out of breath.
Got that out of your system.
You can talk now.
Okay. She brought it to us. Hope you guys like that out there. 11 burpees. For my vanished story, I'm going to be talking about the disappearance of Sam Sayers.
No, never heard of him, her. Okay.
That's true. That is a name that's for all biological sexes. My sources are Allison Williams for Seattle Met. I got a lot of my information from Allison Williams. She wrote a wonderful, wonderful piece about this tragic event. So definitely check her out. Krista Stevens for Long Reads. David Lohr for HuffPost, and alltrails.com. On a sunny, beautiful day in the Pacific Northwest, Samantha Sayers, who is better known as Sam, was heading out for a daytime hike. Sam was an extremely experienced hiker, and she was 27 years old. She was very athletic and fit, and hiking was her passion. It was August 1st in the Seattle area, and Sam got in her car to drive from her home in Belltown, Washington, which is like right outside of Seattle. It's technically like, it's like when you live in Gilbert and you're like, I'm from Phoenix. Like, it's the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
So she was driving to a place called Vesper Peak. And Vesper Peak is a mountain area in the Cascade Mountains, which, if you don't know much about the Pacific Northwest, all the west states, the far west states, have the Cascades running through
Washington,
them.
Oregon, California.
Woo, you did it. And so she was going to go and do a really fun day hike. And these peaks and trails she was going on are in Snohomish County. So this mountain trail is about an hour and 45-minute drive from Seattle. And Sam left alone, bringing her usual hiking gear. She texted her live-in boyfriend, Kevin Darris. He first texted her, "Be safe, SOS me if anything goes haywire." He was also an avid hiker. And then she replied, "Thanks, baby, I love you." And then that was kind of it. And she got her phone in her pocket, and she had this little blue Camelback backpack, and she was off. So Sam got to the trailhead, and she wrote her name, Sam Sayers, in pencil on the register at the trailhead. The park keeps track of like what hikers are in and out of the trail, because some of these trails are kind of dangerous. And so they want to make sure they know like who's going or what trail and when. Vesper Peak is labeled as difficult when you look it up for its hikeability. Sam Sayers had hiked this same trail multiple times before. She very much knew about what to expect about this trail. Other than it being a hot day in the Pacific Northwest, the weather wasn't going to be an issue for her like it could be most of the year in Seattle. In Seattle, it's rainy and things like that. But the weather was perfect, just a little hot. So I'm going to talk about the trail because she, spoilers, goes missing on this trail. And I want to talk a little bit about the difficulty of the trail and then kind of her experience with it. So Vesper Peak Trail is a 7.9, so an 8-mile trail in total. It's just under 4 miles out and 4 miles back. So hiking-wise, this isn't that long of a trail. If you're a runner...
yes, it is.
If you're a runner or avid hiker, 8 miles is not that far.
Excuse me.
For Sam...
Excuse me.
For Sam, it was not a long hike. It was
you.
like just probably a few hours out on the trail. So I used to run a trail this distance in the Pacific Northwest multiple times a week. So like, it's not that far. It's not something you have to prepare for if you're used to doing it, like Sam was.
Sarah, this is a no flex zone. I'm just kidding.
My shirt's ripping with all the flexing that's happening over here. Come on, I gotta compete with your utter beauty. I had to come up with something there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Vesper Peak is just shy of 4,200 feet of climbing in 4 miles. So that is something that you can write home about because that's a lot. The hike I did was 2,000 feet of climbing, which is still fairly steep, but 4,200, that is an effort. So it's fit for the fittest, you could say. Good one. That was nice. So Vesper Trail is pretty popular and it's considered to be highly trafficked, but caution's still required. So like people go on this all the time. It's not like Sam was the only one out in the middle of wilderness. Like there were a lot of people there while Sam was there. Sam wasn't running. She was just hiking. She was wearing pants, a top, and a sports bra. This trail is particularly beautiful. There's large rock formations, trees, and boulders, but it is dangerous. So in parts and this is all relevant. You'll see why later. So the trail has loose rock, and falling is super easy because it's so steep and it's gravelly that you could easily slip and fall without the right shoes. Sam did have hiking boots on. Rocks also occasionally fall from overhead naturally, or because the paths on this are switchback. So when you look up, there's paths almost directly above you because it's so steep and it's a switchback that people might accidentally kick a rock down and it could hit you. There are some like little dangerous areas. Sometimes there are obstacles you have to climb over, like trees or boulders. So the last mile or so up is what hikers call a scramble, meaning it's just like you essentially have to scramble up the top. It's like you can't quite walk. But I read a lot of reviews for Vesper Peak Trail, and people said, no, it's essentially like rock climbing. It's described as technical at the top, which if you're not like a great hiker and you read technical at the top, like that might not be a good trail for you. So Sam Sayers climbed up the 4,186 feet up to the epic summit of Vesper Peak, which is literally a peak like a kid would draw a mountain. There were other hikers at various spots of the viewpoints on the mountain trail.
Excuse me, I would also draw a mountain like that.
Or as Caitlin, imagine how Caitlin would draw a triangle mountain.
Are you trying to make me feel bad about myself in this episode?
After I called you a 10 and but you
said one nice thing.
That's true. Two maybe. I owe you one. So once Sam reached the top, she pulled out some lunch out of her backpack. She had actually brought, I think, 4 sandwiches and a bunch of snacks or something. So she pulled a sandwich out to sit at the top and enjoy the view and eat her sandwich. And other hikers like stopped at the top, and she was up there, and she cheerfully chatted with a variety of people who were coming and going as she rested, ate her sandwich before making her way back down. So after finishing her sandwich, Sam Sayers began the descent of the out and back trail, but instead of going back the way she came, which is what she knew how to do, another hiker recalls seeing her head towards the wrong side of the mountain, quote unquote, for the descent. Now, this could be untrue or a mismemory because Sam Sayers knew the trails and she was a really experienced hiker, so she probably knew not to go off the trail. But at the same time, someone does remember seeing her, and you would say, well, maybe they saw someone else, maybe whatever. But Sam was very, very recognizable in her appearance because she had alopecia. And alopecia is I'm really sorry if I'm saying that incorrectly.
I think it's alopecia.
Alopecia. Okay. That's what she had. And it's an autoimmune disease that affects the hair follicles. So it can result in partial balding on the head or literally anywhere on the body that hair grows, and sometimes results in permanent hair loss. Sam had it bad enough where her hair was like fell out all the time. So she just kept her head bald. And people always thought she had cancer or something like that. But she was like, nope, I just have this hair follicle issue. So she shaved her head every week and she was super bald. So people recognized her. She was bald with very, very feminine features. And not to be crude, but she had like a really feminine figure that is kind of like what some men, I don't want to get into like a whole thing, but what some men in like the movie industry would call like a great feminine figure. So alopecia, unlike other autoimmune diseases, actually doesn't usually impact the whole body, which I didn't know that. It only attacks the hair. So even though she technically had an autoimmune disease on paper, she was really healthy and in extremely good health at 5'8" and 125 pounds. On the descent, Sam got too warm and had taken off her shirt. And so she was in like pants and a sports bra. And witnesses say that they recalled her doing this and seeing that happen. Witnesses also said Sam wasn't in distress. She was cheerful. She was chatting with hikers because she's like really outgoing. And she was heading back down the mountain.
Well, so other people saw her. So were they on the wrong side, or do we know she was on the right side?
We don't know. Somebody said they think she was on the wrong side, but then other people say that they saw her coming down the mountain. And somebody, it's the last known photo of Sam, took a panorama and you see her coming down. So,
but we're not sure what side.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the last time she's seen in this photo, right?
Last photos are so eerie, especially when it's like you accidentally catch someone on film and then it's the last picture of them ever, like that.
And that's how this is. Like they didn't. It was a panorama, and she just happened to be in it.
She just happened to be there.
And she was like, she had hiking like sticks, like walking sticks that you would, because you needed it at this place. It's a little rocky and stuff. And she was just coming down the trail cheerfully. She was supposed to call her boyfriend, Kevin Darris, when she was done, because they were going to go get dinner together and they lived together and like, just let him know. But she never called. And they were going to go out at 6 p.m.-ish. And 6 p.m. rolled by and still she didn't call. She hadn't shown up. She wasn't at the house. So Kevin was growing really concerned. Kevin was also very athletic and a hiker, like I said. Originally from New Orleans, he had moved to Seattle and met Sam on Tinder, sort of.